by Burns. Now an outside-in shot with the flick. 2 white jerseys, 1 purple jersey, and it doesn't matter. Alec Wilson Holliday, are you kidding me? What a big-time grab.
Another big play from Alec Wilson Holliday.
And joining us on the pod right now, last year's league leader in goals and receiving yards, Alec Wilson Holliday. Welcome to Swing Pass, good sir. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Cam. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me.
You've got huge news, obviously, with the foreclosure of Dallas. You've taken your talents into free agency. You've been joined by your agent, Charlie Hoppus, the former New York Empire head coach, 2-time league champion. Mm-hmm. You guys have settled on the Atlanta Hustle. You'll be joining my co-host Cameron Brock down in the ATL. 2 goal-scoring legends. You guys become the 3rd pair of teammates to both have led the league in goals in a given season. Obviously, a huge get for the Hustle. But I want to start by asking, what made you led to this decision? What has your offseason been like? Who approached you? And what was sort of the initial talks with the Hustle and where you're ending up now with them?
Very loaded question. Well, long story short, my offseason was pretty crazy. Unfortunately, Dallas, suspended its operations in November. And that was sad news, but I still wanted to play at a high level. So I was still looking to find a new team. I reached out to Charlie to see if he can kind of help me look for more options other than just what was just easy. I got to talk to about 10 teams across all 4 divisions. So that was really cool. Charlie got me in touch with people who I had never even thought to reach out to, and on the phone with GMs and coaches, which was really cool, really unique. Met a lot of new people around the league, so that was really awesome. Settling with Atlanta was very, in the end, I won't lie, it was kind of an easy choice. There was the first team to reach out to me. They actually reached out to me before the news of Dallas folding, and Tuba and the GM John Bozy, they were just very personable. I won't say aggressive, but they were hitting me up a lot. They were making sure, checking in on me. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. They're hitting me up, so they made sure that they were on my mind. So they're always there, even in the shiny lights of everywhere else and what everybody else was saying and had to offer. Atlanta definitely is the best bet for me, I feel, this year.
Did they so I'm curious now, did they did you have to pass the test with some of the players? Did you have some phone calls with or text threads with any of the current Hustle players?
I did. I talked to Christian Olsen, I talked to Brett Holzmeyer, Jakeem Polk. So those are some cool dudes that I'm looking forward to hanging out with and actually meeting, other than just, trash talking them and running on the field with them. So looking forward to going out to Georgia for sure and meeting you, of course. Oh, we met in Indiana at ESC last year or this year.
It was when you were there for ESC, right? Yeah,
we all blurred together, but meeting you and more.
Yeah, no, same. Yeah, I also had to talk to Christian Olsen and talk to Carl. Hilariously, Carl was a little backwards on the situation. He felt like he really needed to recruit me to Atlanta and didn't realize that I was already interested. So then when I was like, oh no, I really want to come to Atlanta, he's like, oh, cool. That takes all the pressure off of me. I don't have to convince you. Perfect. Nice. And with Christian, it was much more like a job interview. I was buttoning up.
For sure. It was interesting. I was like, well, do I tell them I want to come, or do I want to make it seem like, nah, you want me? You know what I mean? So that's definitely where Charlie helped out the most in helping me keep me level headed. And if my Frisbee friends that know me, I got a pretty big ego, and this free agency did not help it. So Charlie kept me grounded. Shout out him for sure.
Can you go into a little bit what your relationship with Charlie was like throughout this process? How much of it came down to your final decision? Obviously, I assume it was heavily down to what you wanted to do, but what exactly was Charlie's sort of expertise here, other than obviously telling you to consider all your options, obviously leveraging the incredible talent you have? Mm-hmm. What was your relationship with him like?
So funny enough, beforehand, I never met him before. I just saw he was doing a consulting Frisbee thing on Twitter, and I hit him up, and then it went way more than I expected. He is pretty much the only reason that I got a place, because I'm very bad with communication, and he was keeping me on it and making me, well, first off, he connected me with all these GMs and coaches like I had mentioned before. So met a lot of new people through him and connections there. Made sure I was ready for all the calls. He even gave me notes for this interview. So just like he made me a bunch of stuff. He worded stuff for me to say when I was like not too sure what to say or uncomfortable saying something or asking for something or asking for more or whatever it may be. He was my chat GPT. So he was awesome. It was an experience for sure. I wish and I hope that Frisbee can get, or the league can get big enough to where other players can experience a free agency kind of like I did, and potentially, not unfortunately have their home team suspend operations, but have the ability to play for a team across the country or even a state over or whatever it may be. But it was something that for sure I hope people in the future can experience. It was a good one.
Cam, are you jealous? Did you need an agent in this regard, or did you just feel comfortable leveraging yourself out there?
I'm pretty good at talking to people. Communication's a strong suit of mine. I mean, I'm a teacher. It's like in the job description, right? Like you have to be communicating constantly. So, I don't
want to say my communication is bad, Cam, but I'm a teacher too, so you can't get me there.
Well,
I just in the Frisbee world, my head is just way bigger than my teacher head. So
that's fair. That's fair.
I needed some help to not be like, I'm just stop there.
My teacher personality definitely carries over into my Frisbee personality. There's not a lot of separation going on there. I think for me, it was the funny thing was I've never really wanted to go into free agency necessarily. I've always been like, I'm going to stay in Indy where I'm going to build something up here.
For sure.
I think honestly, that's something I accomplished. Like not just me alone, but I felt like, we made championship weekend out of a city that is not known for Ultimate. And I think that says something about where Indy Ultimate was able to grow. But going into this off season was very different. Initially, I wanted to stay with Indy, but then like when I realized that, like really reflecting, like, I just didn't have a really good time and just kind of, I want to go play Frisbee somewhere else. I kind of became my own agent. I started, dropping some hints to players and, coaches I would run into, GMs. Like I was out at championship weekend and I was talking to James Pollard and Alex Atkins about it when we would hang out in car rides or just like when we were hanging out at the field before or in between games, and really just kind of started figuring that stuff out. I talked to some Chain Lightning players at ESC the same day I met you, Alec, and just kind of dropped that I wouldn't mind potentially playing somewhere else. And next thing I know, Tuba's texting me, and when we talked, and it sounds like we probably talked to Tuba right. We might have even talked to him on the same day. I don't know. But
he's just switching your lines on the same.
He's like
for real.
Copy paste, bam, bam, bam.
Like that Moneyball scene when Brad Pitt's playing the different GMs. He's just switching one back to the other. No. I've got Cam here. Here, I'll jump back to Alec on the other.
Yeah. Well, and Alec's name came up during when I was talking to Tuba.
I bet it did.
It was interesting because when it was phrased at the beginning, I was like, I didn't know if it was a him or me type of situation where it was like they're going to take one or the other. I knew obviously financially, like teams can't just afford to, bring players in from everywhere and have that be their whole team. So I understood the financial situation of it. But I was just like, look, who I am. You've got, years of film you can look at. You can, I've played against Atlanta, 4 times since 2019. Tuba's been the coach for a couple of those. So I was like, you've seen me in person, you've seen me on film, you hear me talk about Frisbee on Swing Pass. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't feel like I had to sell myself a lot. I think I just had to let them know. I think their initial worry was that I might be interested in, like, I might just not come. Like maybe I would stay in Indy or maybe someone else was like courting me. But unlike Alec, I did not have 10 or 11 teams beating down my door. The only team that reached out to me was Atlanta. And it's funny that it was them, because if you would have, I'm not just saying this because this is the way it ended up. If, Adam, you and I had conversations about this, like what team would be fun for me to go play on, like off, and the number one team that we both agreed on would be like just fun for me to go to was Atlanta. And so Alec, you said that when it came down to it, it was easy to make the decision to go to Atlanta, even though there were double-digit teams interested in you. Not something I had to go through. I had one team reach out to me, and I chose that one team. So, what made it so easy for you to choose Atlanta, as you stated earlier, over the other teams that were reaching out to you?
Well, what made me feel like Atlanta was going to be a good fit for my next home was really the coaching staff. Chuba reaching out, and he really made me feel like his main goal with me is to help me grow. And with taking what I already have and putting it with him and his team, I think I can grow tremendously and still succeed wildly on the field. So really, it's a win-win for him and me. I'm going to grow and get better and get some wins. As you know, I haven't had many of those in my 3-year career, unfortunately. But I definitely am looking forward to being able to play with some top talented players. High driving offense with some great throwers that I think I can help their throwing yards just keep going, and their assist numbers keep just going skyrocket. We I knew you were coming. He kind of already told me that you were coming, but it wasn't like official when I was talking to Tuba. So I wasn't like, oh man, what's he gonna do with me, Cam, and Brett? Like those are 3 high goal scorers. Like, but now the more I thought about it, I'm like, who's gonna stop us? So I don't know. I just thought me joining Atlanta would just make a super offense with Austin Taylor and Christian Olsen throwing. I mean, we got players like Jeremy and Hayden, and just the defense is stellar with Carl and Bradley. So just lots of names in Atlanta, and I'm just looking to add to it.
Yeah, I also had the thought of, wow, we have like 4 guys that could go to a different team and potentially be like the leading goal scorer on that team. And now we're all on the same line together. And it does kind of feel like a pick your point. Hey, you know what? I'll just say this. I'm the oldest guy on the team as far as it sits right now. If everyone just wants to throw their 4th best cutter defender my way, because I'm the old man, I'll take that. I'll take one for the team. Y'all can go out there and take, cutters 1 through 3, and I'll get the scraps.
I'll take that too. Let's do it.
All right, so I don't want to go running around with a needle and popping too many of these like optimism balloons you guys are releasing up into the air. I totally agree with both of you. I think these are great need fits for a hustle team that lost the league's the 3rd all-time leading goal scorer in Matt Smith to retirement this past season. Bobby Lay also going into retirement. So there's obviously holes to be filled on that Atlanta offense that, again, finished 1st in efficiency in 2024. But I wanted to throw kind of a harder question at both of you per se, and that's about kind of the, to put it bluntly, lack of winning that both of you are coming from. I mean, Atlanta had more regular season wins last year than both of your squads combined. This is a hustle team.
Dang, why you gotta do us like that?
This is a hustle team that has been within 1 goal of championship weekend 3 of the past 4 seasons. You both are tremendous individual talents, obviously. There's no doubt about that. But how are you all going to be jumping onto this hustle team and making an impact? What is it that you can bring to this pretty certified Atlanta franchise that helps them get to that next level? I think it's probably something that Tuba talked about with both of you, right? I mean, it's got to be at the forefront of his brain from the conversations I'd had with him over the past couple of seasons, and seeing how that team has come so close yet not gotten the cigar, feels like these additions elevate that bar a little bit. So what are you guys going to be bringing?
Well, Cam, you want to answer or you want me to answer?
I'll go if you whatever. I've gotten it. I mean, I've been to championship weekend, so like, how many guys on?
How many years ago was that, Cam? How many years ago?
Hey, more recent than Atlanta's been there. Let's be real, because they haven't.
Right.
So I've been to championship weekend. So in terms of like what's it take to get there? Well, I mean, I've been there. And not only have I been there, but we played against a New York team that people expected to blow us out, a team that went undefeated, and we played them to a 2-goal game.
Okay, but that was 2019. I'm talking about
Sure.
2025. We're talking about 2025,
Look,
Cam.
Look, and I think this goes for Alec too. Like, I'm an efficient player. I don't turn the disc over a lot. Alec, I mentioned this last season on Swing Pass. Alec did something that no one's ever done, which is, if I remember correctly, he led the league in plus minus and on the worst winning percentage team in the league. And if you just go back to the history of this league, people that play on teams that don't win don't typically finish very high in plus minus, let alone lead the league. And when you look at this Atlanta team, what do they need? They need people who can step up in big situations, who don't mind having the spotlight on them and can still succeed. And I think when you look at what Alec has done in Dallas, he's the focal point of every team they played against. I mean, every team they play against says we need to stop Alec because he's so crucial to what Dallas is going to do on offense. And he's shown he can do that. And, I've had seasons like that too. Like, I've played on teams where we've been like really balanced. In 2022, we weren't balanced. That's just a couple seasons ago, we were not balanced. The offense basically ran through me. I mean, I led the league in goals as a 33-year-old, 34-year-old. And, on a team in big situations, I played well. I played well in our playoff game. The game that basically clinched the playoffs for us, you were there. I did it up in Madison, was probably my best game of the season. And that was essentially a playoff game for us. And when I talked to Tuba, that was what he was really talking to me about, was like, he was not shy about saying that they have basically choked in the playoffs and that they've had opportunities right in front of them to make it a championship weekend and have not been able to get over the hump. And he looks at me, and I agree with him, as somebody who in those big moments is not going to shrink, is not going to have those mental lapses, is not going to let nerves get the best of me. And he's like, we need someone like you on this team that when those lights are bright, you're still going to be Cam. Like, you're not going to turn into a pumpkin on us. And I think that's what I bring. Like, it's a level of consistency. It's a level of like taking it serious all the time and investing a lot of my time and energy into it, as much as I would say anyone. And like, I don't know. I think at this point I just have a track record of when games matter, I show up. So that's why he wanted to bring me in. He was very clear about that from our first conversation. So yeah, Alec.
For sure. Definitely agree with everything you said about you, speaking on you. Speaking on me, I wouldn't say I've had too many spotlight moments. Of course, I did have a lot of the focal point on all of our Southern Division games, but hadn't gotten too far out of the regular season in my career. But I do think that I bring a different level of swagger and attitude that a lot of Ultimate players don't carry. As you probably know, I'm a little different than a lot of players as in regards of my play style and how I react to certain things and to scoring, especially. I get very excited if you couldn't tell. So I just think that, one, Atlanta is going to be a great environment for me to thrive in and to be able to express myself. And two, I think that I'm going to be able to help bring everybody else's swagger out and help them be them. And that's what's going to help us get to champ weekend and then bring home a trophy back to Georgia.
Yeah, that's right. And I think like one thing that is missing in a lot of Frisbee players, just being totally candid, is just that level of grit it takes to like go through something tough and like mentally still be there. I come from a basketball background. I come from especially a pickup basketball background where you mess up. Like, not only did you mess up in the game, but like everyone in the game and on the sidelines is like chirping about it and letting you know about it for basically the rest of the time you're there that day. And there is like a certain type of grit you have to like fight through that all the time. And I think like that background of all those different sports that I've played and kind of that mental toughness that had to be forged through those fires is something that has really benefited me in Frisbee, because having the spotlight on me for as many years as I have now, like, people are always looking for reasons to like say something to me. I've seen the Reddit posts with people just trashing me. There's been Ulta World articles calling me out for like having a really bad game. I've, had moments where Lepler's mentioned bad play by me in the Tuesday toss, and all these things. Everyone has those moments. It's like, kind of, how do you respond to them? And I think it's showed a history of responding to those things pretty well. And I expect the same thing of Alec, and I expect the same thing of all the rest of the hustle players. It's just like something you got to fight through and something you got to get through. And it's something we'll fight through and get through together. So I don't know. I'm just excited to get out there and play. I mean, I know we're still a month away from our first training camp, and, we're 3 months away from the first game, but it's one of those things where I don't think there's anything Alec and I can say at this point to convince people that this is going to work out. I think we just have to go out there and do it. And so right now, it's easy to talk a big game. It's easy for us to sound really confident. But I think it'll show through in the results that we have once we get on the field.
For sure.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like Atlanta's bringing you guys in as a sense of closers. I would have to confirm it with Coach Tuba, but something to bring that kind of over the finish line. But, you talk about trepidation. I don't know that there's a franchise in this league that suffered more than Atlanta. They kind of mirror another purple squad in a different sport in the Minnesota Vikings in terms of playoff collapses over the past couple of seasons. And so I think it's interesting how you talk about some of the hardships that you faced in your individual playing career, Cam. And obviously, Alec, you've faced some particular losing seasons with Dallas over the past couple of years. And yet you're going to a squad with Atlanta that has had, dare I say it, the league's worst heartbreak, I think, especially given the talent on those Atlanta squads. We talk, I think, yearly, perennially about DC not being able to kind of clear New York some years in the East Division. I felt that way about Atlanta for a number of years. And so I think that there is something to what you were kind of getting at, Cam, with maybe all of this frustration finally gets over the hump in some sense. You've all learned your lessons through the years, and now maybe that can lead to some greater glory. Obviously, we just got the word that Championship Weekend 2025 will be held in Madison, Wisconsin, August 22nd, 23rd. That's got to be circled on your calendars. I think I have one final question for you guys, and that's, what's the nickname got to be? You guys got to have some kind of dynamic duo, purple people eaters, some sort of some slogan, man. Like, you guys are two of the league's best goal scorers all time. I was talking about with Cam in the pre-record. I think technically it's two of the 10 best goal scorers in a given season on the same team together. What's the nickname? Come on, this is a safe space. We can play some popcorn.
Ooh! I don't know. That's a good one. I don't know. We might have to come up with one as the season rolls on.
There's like Sonic and Knuckles with Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery with the Lions. R.I.P. to their Super Bowl hopes, but something like that. Like, do you guys? You can think on it. You don't have to settle on the show, but
we'll come up with something.
Yeah, we'll think about that one.
Okay.
Yeah, we're also the two, like, Atlanta's got a lot of guys that travel in from out of town. We are the two furthest traveling players, I believe, on the roster, at least at the moment. But we do both travel the furthest. So I don't know. Maybe there's something there with being the really far out of town guys. I know Alec mentioned, playing for a team one state away, or we're going multiple states away here to go play Frisbee. So I don't know. I'm sure what the thing is, no matter what we come up with, I'm sure like Lepler's going to coin something on a Tuesday toss, or somebody's going to do it on a broadcast or something. So we'll leave that up to the media professionals. I know I'm technically a co-host on this show, but I'm still the player that's on the show. So we'll leave that to you, Daniel Cohen, Ian Toner, Evan Lepler. Y'all come up with something.
Yeah, y'all give it to us.
All right. If you're leaving it in my hands, though, that's danger for y'all. But that'll do it for this segment. Alec, thank you so much for joining us. Really excited to see what's coming for you, Atlanta, Cam, the whole Hustle organization. I think, obviously, as they've been for the past few years, going to be a franchise to watch in 2025. But obviously, with you signing on now, it just makes it all the more. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll hopefully be talking to you pretty soon. Maybe we'll have some updates at the beginning of the year. Maybe you'll get right off onto your goal scoring ways where you left off last year and put up like a 10 spot against some South Division foe.
We'll see. I appreciate you for having me. Thanks.
You bet, man. You bet. We'll catch you soon, man.
Bye.